Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play No Man's Sky on a No Man's Sky Sunday. Time to relax and chill. I'm your host, Colors Fade. It's episode 13. Lucky episode 13. Left a save beacon here at this minor outpost so we know where it's at. We're going to wander over here because there is these guys stuck in the rock. So there's... sometimes these things happen. But before we leave this place, we might as well go collect this stuff. Oh, and there's a buried technology module outside. Check our stock transfer. Okay. Nope. Right there. All right. There's some buried tech. Is the other building? Oh, there's this. Oh. Sometimes that's what happens is these get built into these walls. Yeah, we'll carve this out a little bit. So we can waltz up in here and carve it out some more. Can we manage to get this out of here? You got buried, my friend. Fun. Well, we learned a word from that. Okay. Very interesting. Some stuff you can't... Oh yeah, that's why. Oh well, that's fine. Alright, so before we leave this place, we're gonna do a little bit of work here. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna sell this albumin pearl that we've been hanging on to forever that I meant to sell. This navigation data we already picked up. It's still very glowy. So let's sell some stuff. Don't want to sell that mirror, that's for sure. Silicate powder. Fun. Don't want to sell the geode either. What we need to sell is... Is it in the ship? Yep, right there. 90,000. That's not bad. Okay. Other door. Ding dong. And away we go. Oh no, not away we go. So now we bought a whole slew of these distress signal coordinates. We're going to be looking for a fighter because this solar sail ship does not corner well. Abandoned building detected. So this is kind of what we're going to do this episode is just keep going from spot to spot. It's an abandoned building. That's too bad. We're going to leave that there for now. We have enough stuff. I think we don't have enough stuff to fix the solar sail yet. So that's kind of the problem. We really need another minor outpost. That's what we need. So we're going to run back to our base. Actually, you know what? There's no teleporter there, so... Abandoned building. Ancient ruin. Where's our base at? What's that thing? That's just a save beacon. Okay. Where is my base? Why am I not seeing it? Let's get out of here. Now tell me what I'm looking at. Oh, I'm looking at a mess. There we go. There's the base. Because we made deuterium last episode. We got a medium refiner up, and we were able to make that. So it's over there. We still have power at nighttime. Probably not for long, but... So there it is, the deuterium. We're going to put that on the starship. Put the rest of the tritium on the starship. We're going to try to fix this. So we have enough deuterium now. And we need one more of those glass thingies. And then here, we do have enough deuterium for this too. But we need cadmium. So that's a secondary ship component. This is necessary so that we can refuel our thrusters when we're just sitting around. I don't think we have any cadmium. Yeah, none. Oh, there's this though, crystal fragment. I can't put it directly in my ship. Oh, that's a shame. They make you shuffle things around. Okay. That's alright. That's alright, because what we're going to do next... Go to that abandoned building. We need one more of those glass mirror type things, so... It's 10 minutes away. 7 minutes away, actually. So the odds of us finding an outpost on the way there are probably pretty small, but we're gonna try it anyways. Because that's the only place I know of to buy those little mirrors from, is the little occupied outposts. I don't think you can get it at one of the big trade centers. Okay, what do we have here? This is the tower. Very nice, but not helpful. Communications tower. Oh, it won't let me do that. Pressing the wrong button. Okay. What do we have over here? It is what? What is that? It's just, it's not a crash site. Not really. I didn't see a ship anyway. I mean, if there's a planet to just fly around and explore on, this is it. It seems like it's a pretty dense planet for stuff and buildings. I see what? Just two little buildings. Okay. Darn, not the rest of it, not the little outpost. It seems like some planets are set up to be denser as far as buildings go, and others are not. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just a beacon. But that's been my experience playing the game, is that some planets are structurally rich, I guess you might call them. They have a lot of structures on them, and you don't have to fly very far to find one. And then there are other planets where you can go long periods of time without seeing anything. So usually those, and the abandoned planets obviously have like zero structures on them, so I'm sure there's some kind of global setting on the planet. break them up into several different types, several different levels of density. What do we have here? Okay, so this is... Oh, so this is an outpost. Oh my god. But it's built into the wall. Will this work? Oh my gosh. It's built into... Yeah, that's no good. The terrain manipulator doesn't really want to work here, does it? Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, you guys could spend a little time working on this. It wouldn't hurt you. It's a nice gun there. What is that? It's a C-class. Okay. It just looks pretty. You, my friend, tell me what you got. Purchase components, my buddy. Solar mirror, yay. And you know what? I'm just going to buy the other one too. And I'm going to buy both of all of your wiring looms too. Oh, okay. Well, we'll fix that because we're going to put the solar mirrors. Where are they at? Right here. These belong on the starship. And this geode can disappear right there. And the dihydrogen, well, yeah. We have lots of magnetized ferrite. We can store some of that on there. And gold. Store some of that on here. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to buy your... Because if we're going to run into that problem in the future, might as well buy all of those. And then... I don't suppose you have a blueprint for those things. No. Okay. Teleport receiver, personal force field. Alright. Good job, dude. Thanks. Yeah, because you can't buy them at this thing. Can't buy this. You can buy hermetic seals, unstable plasma, navigation data. It's just generic. It's... Yeah. Oh, so you could just buy a bunch of navigation data. Oh. You don't have to go dig it up. Just buy a bunch of it. Wow. It's pretty cheap. Well, we'll use the ones we got now, but you know what? That's tempting. How much is it to buy all that navigation data? 78,000. Just gonna buy it. Okay, let's go check this out. So someone said to me that I should be aware that there is buried technology data underneath these damaged machineries. I was not aware of. It said you have to move around to see the icon, but... Oh, I don't know. Is it... I mean... Okay, so it's right there. Wow. So it's like not right under it, but it's close by. That's cool. I never knew that. Well, not like getting a little free something. It's pretty cool that like the 4th or 5th building we were on was a minor settlement though, and it allowed me to get that thing. That's... Starship out of range, really? Okay. I'm gonna go over here and do this. Research. Extract nanites. Stock exchange. Is there... Oh, the other one's over here. I'm just like, is it inside that rock? Yeah. Word up. God, remember that song? Jesus. I'm glad I can forget it. I'll take things that I'm glad I can forget for 500, Alex. Actually, 600. I think it only goes in even increments, doesn't it? Or is it... Or is it... No, that's like double jump. Okay, let's see if we can get out of here. Oh my gosh, we could. All right, fantastic. Another big flat plateau right here next to a minor settlement. That would have been nice. Okay. Well, let's head over there. So, with the ship completely repaired now, can land anywhere we want to, which is good because now we can do what I wanted to do, which is go hunt for a fighter. This thing is going to be, this ship is going to be ideal for flying around on planets and wanting to land anywhere to do mining and all that kind of stuff. And it's great. It's going to be great for that. And it will be great for that. But for exploring and hopping between planets, I'm clearly going to need a fighter because they have ramped up the whole pirate thing. And I think you got to be a little more prepared for that. What do we have here? Oh yeah, just a beacon. Okay. Oh, I smacked the beacon. I smacked the beacon. It's not a euphemism. Don't get excited. How's everybody's Sunday going? Chilling? Having a good time? I think by the time this episode comes out, gosh, we're going to be, this Sunday should be what? Championship Sunday for the NFL? Going to get the NFC and AFC championship games? Is that what's happening? The NFL is honestly the only sport that I pay any attention to. Used to be much bigger into sports when I was younger, but then I discovered playing the guitar. And after that, everything kind of changed. I started caring a lot less about sports and a lot more about making music and learning how to play. I just watched, as I record this for me, I just watched the other day on Rick Beato's channel on YouTube, just an incredible interview with Steve Lukather. If you don't know who Steve Lukather is, he's a guitar player who's a session musician. Most people famously know him for, he's one of the members of Toto, one of the songwriters, and just a brilliant guitar player. But what people don't know about him, if they know him from Toto, maybe what they don't know is that he was a very busy session musician in Los Angeles during the peak of the 80s and 90s, and played on some, I mean, he's played on everything for everybody. Like, you know, he played the guitar parts for Michael Jackson's famous album. He played all that stuff on, you know, Beat It and all that stuff. Those are all his guitar parts, except for, of course, the solo, which Eddie Van Halen did. Steve Lukather and Eddie Van Halen were really close friends. And Steve has just played on everything. It's amazing the amount of things he's played on. And it's amazing that people, I never knew this, and I don't think most people do know, is that when you're listening to an album, all the people who are playing those instruments, it's the same group of session musicians over and over and over. You know, they get paid to do that. I grew up on rock and roll, and it was, most of the time it was the band members playing the instruments themselves. But even within 80s rock, there were still guys not doing it and session musicians doing a lot of the work, you know. So it was really interesting to, it's really interesting to hear Steve Lukather talk about how the process works, you know, about how you'd be in the room, in the recording studio, and the musician that you're there to support is there, and they might just have an acoustic guitar, or they might just have a piano, and they're playing the chords to the song, and they have nothing else. And the session musicians are expected to just invent everything right there on the spot, and they do, and that's why they were so good at it, and that's why they got paid money to do that. So it was, and Steve is just a great personality to listen to. He's so much fun. Okay, let's do the next one. What do we got here? So that's the ones. This is it. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, let's switch this with that and do this. E plot route. Maybe we can find a ship today. I mean, Steve Lukather basically, I told my friends this because I posted the video on Facebook in case anybody else wanted to watch it because it's so fascinating. Steve Lukather basically has the job that I would have loved to have. He's got one of my 2 dream jobs. I have had the privilege to be a session guitar player for a couple of people so my experience is very, very limited, and I don't sight read music, so which is good because in the times that I've been asked to be a session musician, all I've had to do is come in and invent parts. I've been brought in and people have said, I need a guitar solo for this song, or I need some guitar on all these tracks. And I did that for a country singer. That was a really cool thing because at the time, for instance, I think I played on 2 or 3 tracks. I think it might have been 2. But this country singer, up and coming, was working with this producer and engineer that I knew, and he said, hey, Jason Aldean and all those guys are kind of bringing a little bit of rock and roll vibe to country, and I feel like these 2 songs that she's written on this album are prime candidates for that kind of stuff, but I need somebody who knows rock guitar. Can you come in and do that? So I went in for a day, brought my rig in, and because, it was a lot of fun to sit there and just invent those parts. Wrote a whole bunch of parts for those songs, sat down and recorded it, and then of course I got paid, flat rate to do it. But it was pretty cool because after, it was not cool, but it was educational, I guess, in that when I finally heard the finished product, it wasn't my guitar on the album, but it was all the parts that I had written. And I'm like, what happened here? And the engineer, the producer, he was like, yeah, they heard it and they loved the parts that you wrote, but they were like, it's too much rock guitar. The amplifier is too heavy, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. And they were like, they wanted their guitar player to re-record the parts using his guitar. And of course, I'm sure they did that for, rights, licensing rights and all that stuff. Because you hear about people like Ozzy Osbourne taking all the bass lines in a reissue and having a new bass player record it so that the old bass player no longer gets the royalties when those new songs are played. So I'm sure it was also probably a royalty issue and all that kind of stuff. But it was really interesting to hear, my stuff on a song. And of course, I've written some guitar solos for people that have landed on albums, which has been really cool. That's the most fun part, is when somebody asks you to come in and just write a guitar solo, because I feel like that's when me as a guitar player, I can be my most expressive, and I can just and they're calling you because they want you, because they've heard your guitar solos and other work, and they're like, I want that. I want you to do you. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah, I can do that. I can be me. That's easy. And you just find something really melodic, and it's cool because all you're really trying to do is find something that fits the song, not necessarily, am I going to play the fanciest technique or the coolest lick or anything. It's like, what I always look at it like Neil Schon from Journey. He's one of my favorite guitar players, and Neil just had this habit and this brilliant way of always playing whatever was right for the song. Neil can rip, which most guitar players can rip. Phil Collen from Def Leppard can shred. He got invited on G3 with John Petrucci and Joe Satriani and those guys, and people were like, Phil Collen? Really? And they're like, no, he can shred, but he doesn't need to shred in Def Leppard. He plays what's appropriate for the song. And that to me is really cool. And that's the challenge of being able to come in and get asked to do something like that, is figure out what fits the song, And musicians who are writing this music, they're not guitar players and they're not soloists. So they're speaking to you in a language that is often very vague and stuff like that. You know, they're like, well, I want something ripping or whatever. You know, they're using some kind of words that you have to interpret. It's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna play some stuff. And sometimes you play some stuff and they chop it up and reform it. And I thought that was really interesting because recently on, I think the name of the band, I think the way to pronounce it is Polyphia. They're getting a lot of traction now, of course, because their new album is coming out, and Steve Vai played a solo on one of their songs, and they worked with a bunch of other musicians. And Rick Beato has had, I think his name is Tim Henson, and so they're getting a ton of traction and popularity right now. But Steve Vai wrote a solo for one of their songs, and then he was shocked when he heard it on the final mix of the album because they had taken the solo that he had written and they had chopped it up and rearranged it. And when I saw the interview for that on ultimateguitar.com, I saw a bunch of comments from people saying, oh, that's so disrespectful of Steve Vai and stuff like that. And I was like, no, this is really a common thing. It's even happened to me, and I haven't done that much session work. I had a good friend of mine at the time. I've since had a falling out, but he was a good friend at the time, and he said, hey, I want you to come play a solo on this album. You know, I want you to construct something. And I'm like, okay. So I really sat down and listened to he let me go home with the track, which was great. So I had several days to just sit and listen to it and play over the section of space that he had given me for a guitar solo, and to really construct something that I thought would work. And when I went into his studio to record it, I laid down the track, and I think it was like, I don't know, second take maybe was good. And he's like, yeah, but he wasn't really feeling it. He was like, yeah, I loved the solo that I had written. I thought it was fantastic, but he didn't really dig it. And he's like, you know what? Can you just improvise for a while? I'm just going to record a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know how many takes we did that way. If we did like 5, 8, 10 takes or something like that of just, he kept playing the song and I kept improvising over it. And then later on, I got to hear the finished track, and he had taken all of those different takes, and he had snipped out splices of them and spliced the whole thing together in one big long guitar solo that was seamless. It sounded completely seamless, which was amazing. And so I'm listening to it and I'm like, I didn't write that solo, but I did. I wrote all those parts and they just got rearranged in that particular way. It was really interesting. But you know, that's the whole thing, is you're there to serve the artist's vision, not your own ego. So if they want to take your work and splice it together in a different way, that's their prerogative. And I don't think you can be upset about it. You just got to be like, okay, that's what they wanted to write. Oh, let's see. There's the beacon, and then all we're finding is abandoned buildings, but all it takes is one, right? So session work is just, I mean, I've always got a kick out of doing it. The few limited times that I've been able to do it, and to get to sit there and listen to an icon like Steve Lukather talk about it with Rick Beato and just tell all his stories, because he knows all these amazing musicians. He knows a ton of session people, of course, because he's worked with so many of them, and then he knows a ton of great musicians because he's worked on their albums. So he's a wealth of knowledge and connections and stories. You know, he's just he's a font of stories. I mean, the guy has so many good stories, and I think the whole thing is really cool. I think it's really cool to listen to. The first time I ever heard of Steve Lukather, I had, like everybody else, listened to Toto. I knew who Toto was. I didn't know who the band members were at the time. And the first time I ever heard of Steve Lukather was in Guitar for the Practicing Musician. There was an interview, and it was like an interview with Eddie Van Halen, except it wasn't an interview with Eddie Van Halen. It was Eddie Van Halen interviewing Steve Lukather. And I was like, what the hell is this? Instead of a journalist at the magazine interviewing Eddie, Eddie was interviewing Steve. And of course, Steve, being this fascinating and very busy session musician, had lots of great stories and lots of great information. And I sat down and read that article, and I was just mesmerized. And from that moment on, I was a huge Steve Lukather fan. I think he's fantastic. Toto is actually opening for Journey in a couple of months nearby, and I'm just trying to figure out if I should spend the money and risk going, of course, because of the whole COVID situation. You know, you got to go to a concert. I mean, I've seen Journey before, and I got to see them at the greatest venue in America. I got to see them at the Gorge, which is where I've seen probably the vast majority of concerts in my lifetime. The Gorge is an incredible venue, and if you've never been there, here's what I've heard from people who've traveled and go see a lot of concerts and stuff like that, is that in North America, the best venue is the Gorge, and the next best one is Red Rocks, and everybody knows Red Rocks. But one of the coolest things was when Journey played there at the Gorge, and that was fantastic. They played with Bad English, opened, and then Peter Frampton, which was fantastic, and then Journey. And Journey said that it was that the Gorge show was the last show on their tour that year, and that they said they burned more. How did he phrase it? He said they burned more footage. All their camera crew had burned more footage at the Gorge the last day and a half or 2 days than they had the whole entire tour everywhere else, because it's such an amazing venue, and they were brilliant. Of course, Neil Schon was brilliant. He's the whole reason that I love Journey. Steve Perry's voice is great, but Steve wasn't in the band anymore, and they've been able to find one singer after another who can sing very, very, very close to Steve Perry. So close that sometimes you almost don't know. So to be able to go see Toto on probably what might be one of their last tours, and Journey on what might be one of their last tours, and in a couple of months it's very enticing. It's just, and here's the thing: if COVID wasn't happening, this would be a no-brainer. I would just spend the money and go. And the tickets are expensive, of course, because they get scooped up by scalpers. So now they're sold on the secondary market for a lot of money. I tried to get in on the day of, and they were all, I mean, I got it. I think tickets went on sale at like 10 o'clock. I think I got on the internet at like I think I got through at like 10:02, 10:03, and tickets were gone. You know, I think Ticketmaster has it. Ticketmaster and whoever else is in charge of tickets, they have a huge problem on their hands, and I don't know if it's going to take government intervention and regulation or something, but somebody has to figure out how to fix that whole situation, because it's a mess. But yeah, to be able to do that, Steve Lukather, geez, he's an incredibly awesome guy and a great musician. Log damage. Okay. Well, so here's what I don't know. We've been here, we visited this, and of course there are things that you can do here. Can we just now get the next piece of data? Will it not find the same freighter? We don't have to dig it up, do we? It's going to find that thing right next door, isn't it? Abandoned building detected like 2 feet away. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, yeah, as soon as it backed away and I saw that, I was like, oh, bummer. Okay. It's not very far, is it? I should have just probably walked over there and left my ship here. Yeah, because But that's okay. We're just still looking. We're looking for distress signals. Distress signals and collecting nanites, so it's not an entirely busy No Man's Sky day, but I hope the stories keep you entertained. Because for me, in my lifetime, I mean, I wish I'd have figured out way sooner in my life that I love the things that I loved and that I could have got paid for them. Because I would have very much... Oh, I gotta go in here still. I would have very much liked to have been a session guitar player and be able to work on people's albums. That would have been so much fun. But to do that, you got to be able to sight read, which I can't do. And so I'll tell you the story of why that happened. It is the story of the most frustrating time in my childhood. And oh, did I just take off without grabbing the next sector? I did, didn't I? Okay, hold on. Where was that freighter at? Salvage site. Salvage materials from the wreck. Where is that? Is it over here? Ooh. Don't want to salvage any materials from the wreck. I just want to find like the next site that I can go to. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm just gonna land right here. Took off without aiming for the next point. Big dummy. Then I'll tell this story. Okay, here we go. Gosh, eggs will suit me. What's next? Give me an actual ship. Distress signal, and hey, it's the first one. We're 37 minutes into this episode today, and we got the first one. That's great. Okay, distress signal, an actual legit distress signal. All right, so when I was in school, oh, not enough for the launch thruster. All right, my darling, where is the launch thruster? Which piece is that? Mission thrusters, launch thrusters. Okay, we got one left. So when I was in grade school, it was 5th grade when band started. And of course, band was where you were going to learn to read standard notation, read sheet music. And it was like, you know, the first week of band practice or whatever. First week of school where you went in there and they asked you what instrument you want to play and all that stuff. Well, I went to the instructor, who happened to also be the bus driver on my route. That was cool. Those guys jumping in like that. And his name was Mr. Tyson. Mr. Tyson said, "What do you want to play?" I go, "I want to play guitar." I knew back then, I don't know how old you are in 5th grade, like 10 years old or something. And I'm like, "I want to play guitar." He goes, and this is what he told me. He said, "Oh, we don't start anybody on guitar until 6th grade." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I turned around and walked out and was like, in my mind, I was like, "Fine, I'll come back in 6th grade." Well, then, first day of school, 6th grade, I walk in and I'm like, "Okay, I want to play guitar. You said you got to be 6th grade to start." And he goes, "Oh, you're a year behind everybody now. You don't know how to do anything." And I was so mad. And I hated that miserable man for the rest of my life. I would not look him in the face when I got on the bus. I wanted to punch him out every time I saw him. I was so disgusted with that person who had basically, I felt, robbed me out of my ability to do the one thing that I really wanted to do, which was play guitar. So it would... This site's old. We've been here. It wouldn't be until much, much later in my life when I was 19 years old and I went into the military that I spent my very first paycheck the military ever gave me when I got to my permanent duty assignment. And the first thing I did was go into town and find a guitar shop and buy a guitar, not even knowing how to play any part of it, not even know what to do with it or anything. You gotta be kidding me. Somebody's been to the site. It's been me. I've obviously been here. Oh, this is loser tech. This is crappy. Oh man. Okay. That's a bummer. Yeah, so if Mr. Tyson would have been a little more accurate and forthcoming, he would have said, "Hey, you know, we don't start." Here's the thing: I think he lied about the guitar bit altogether because I don't think anybody in that band ever played guitar, ever. But it would have been nice if what he would have said was, "Well, you need to be a little older before we start you on the guitar. So why don't you learn to play something this year so you can learn how to sight read music, like, you know, play a saxophone or whatever." And I'd have went, "Okay, if that's what it's going to take to get me to the guitar, I will play the saxophone. I will play whatever you want me to play, but that's my ultimate goal and I have to get there." And instead, I was just like, "Oh, 6th grade guitar. Okay, see you next year." And he never stopped me, never said, "Well," I just couldn't believe that. I just could not believe that. Why would you not tell a kid, the guitar, that's really what you want to play? Okay, here's how we're going to make it work. I mean, I'm still to this day baffled by that because it's just not the way you do it. and then it set me back, you know, decades, my whole life really. I mean, I still can't sight read sheet music. I can read guitar tablature, but that's different. If you walked into a studio to do session work for somebody who had sheet music already set up for a song and they wanted you to play that, you'd be hopeless. You know, you got to be able to read the actual music. Got to be able to read standard notation. So, and the people who are really good at sight reading, they read it and they play right at the same time, man. They're like milliseconds ahead. They're reading ahead and knowing what to play, and I think that's a great skill to have. So the observatory is here. Yay. The observatory is not going to be terribly useful. Let's go in here and get that loaded up. Is that all? I hate that it keeps going to the starship. I wish there was a way to configure that. Okay. Wish there was a way to configure it to say, just always go to your exosuit first. And I don't know if that such a thing exists or not, but I haven't found it. Atlas pass required. Okay. Oh, but here's the thing. This will tell us if there's... All right. Okay, so what do we got? 4, 8, and then it goes 8, 6, and then 6, 5. So it's going to be, 5, 4, 8. 5, 4, 8, 6. Nothing found. Oh. Does that mean that we have basically exhausted this system? I'm going to go check this piece of junk over here, and there's the underground one right there. I'm so glad somebody mentioned that. Whoever you were, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I think it's great that you mentioned that, because it's never occurred to me that there's always a piece there, but there is, and that's awesome. Salvage data, nanites received. All right, we're going to try one more, and I don't think we're going to get anything in this. We may have to move to a new system, which could be very dangerous in this ship. Distress signal detected, but is it legit or is it the one that we were at? If it's the one that we were at, I'm going to be... It's only 1,000 AUs away. Oh. Well. That's not far. Oh no, it's a little further than that. No, it isn't. It's 5 seconds away, so it's right there. It's a ship. Oh, but you can see since it's swirling, and there's a Gek down there. Oh, that's too bad. It's not an abandoned ship. It's going to take a long time to find a fighter like this. Which begs the question, is there a better way? And there is. There is a better way. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to find what I'm looking for this way. I mean, we could. It just seems like it's going to take forever because since distress signal can mean an abandoned building and a crashed freighter, that significantly reduces your chances of actually finding ships. And now that they've changed it so that crashed ships can also have a live pilot who needs help and is going to fly away the minute you help him, this is not good. All right, I do have a Gek relic though. So, gesturing broadly to compensate for the gaps in our communication, they indicate they would be willing to trade some of their stash in return for finding the attackers who stole from them. Oh, man. I'm not really in a position to find attackers, but... Pirates descending on a vessel with phase beam fire. As the video flickers and dies, the Gek points to the sky, gently urging me onward. That's... Return to your ship and fly to space. Locate and destroy the... Yeah, that's not going to happen. Not in my piece of junk. Okay, I should have probably refused that, but... I don't want to have anything to do with that. There's another distress signal. That's what I want to do. We've got 3 distress signals here. 7 hours. Oh my. Well, this could be very, very bad. Because if we go up into space, we're going to have to fight these guys. And we're already a little wounded. And I... Oh my gosh, really? Oh my gosh. Off planet. This is not going to be good, is it? Three minutes. Where are you? So trying to catch this guy is going to be a little hard. And he's going to fly right down there, isn't he? We're closing, but not fast. All these graphics on the screen make it really hard to target this guy. Bounty mission target. Arrive. I wonder if there's a way to get rid of that. Because really, I just need to see the icon. I need to see the reticule. Where's he at? I like that these guys show up planet side now, which is pretty cool. Wish I had some homing missiles. What do I've got? I've got photon cannon, rocket launcher. So try the rocket launcher first. Oh boy. It's really taking some time to get to this guy. He's flying from my base. Really, Buster? Where is he? God. No. Okay, where are you going now? Turkey? God, he turns faster than I do. I can't see him. Jeez. This is sucking. The turning here is sucking. Oh my God, what is going on? Yeah, I know. I can't find him. What? Oh, get that icon off the screen. God. You guys have not figured out how to make this space flight thing better. Come on. Yeah, I know. I don't. Oh my God. Come on, just do it. I have to click on it twice. Come on. It's got to be a better way to do this. This is when I really, really want to be on the design team here, helping these guys out, because this is... I'm not even flying. I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't use... Screw this. Alright, I'm done with that. Yeah. I'm done. Combat in this game has gotten ridiculous. I'm done. I'm not gonna do that. That's pointless. I mean, that's just... Yeah, that's garbage. Okay. Well... I'm not gonna be able to do what I want to do with that ship. That's the biggest piece of junk. 4 hours away from that thing. Can I even get this piece of junk off the ground now? Anyway, I should have told that Gek no. And now we're going to be extra damaged, aren't we? What's broken now? Cadmium drive. Oh, and photon cannon. Okay. So the photon cannon, most important thing. The most important thing. Yeah, I'm not sure how to do this now. Locate and destroy the bounty target? I didn't, so I don't know. I don't want to return to the crash site. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Not fun. 0 likes. This is the part that every space game gets wrong, and it's just... God, I'd love for one game to get it right. You know, I think it's... God. Kidding me? Come on. How many times do I have to press the button? I'm sitting there slamming it. No game has got dogfighting correct since X-Wing and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and I'm not joking about that. Like, no game has done it correctly. And it boggles my mind that the best version of space dogfighting was 30 fucking years ago. God, I just can't believe it. I can't. It's supposed to be chill No Man's Sky Sunday, and I'm getting worked up about this. It's just so utterly disappointing. Like, you're sitting here just doing this. What the hell? And I can't see the ship at all. It's like, come on, man. Play the game. Developers of No Man's Sky at Hello Games, please play your game. Play it. Sit down and play it. Not on a PlayStation, not on an Xbox, on a PC. Play it with this. With the mouse. Play it and feel what this experience is like, because it stinks. And now go back, find some way to go back and play X-Wing. And in fact, I'm sure that there was an X-Wing game that came out not too long ago called like Rogue Squadron or something on the PC, and I heard it was quite good, and I need to play it. Because you have a really cool game here with the base building and the harvesting and the planet exploration and all that stuff, and you're pissing it away by making combat stink. And it's the same thing that frustrates me every time I start playing No Man's Sky. I just wonder why they can't get this right. And they thought the solution was to add more pirates? No. The solution is to redesign how your ships actually fly. And things like turn radiuses and acceleration. These things matter. And you are doing the worst version of it. And they've made it so that the only way that you can have any fun at all is to get yourself an A or S class fighter and deck it out, because that has been the only time I've been able to have any decent success fighting things. And now I'm looking at that prospect of the only way forward with the game is to go get a fighter. Well, obviously using crash data is not working. I just spent a whole hour doing it and I never found one crashed ship. So what that means is you have to buy one outright. And if you're going to buy one outright, then what you have to do is come up with a scheme to harvest money somehow. And I mean, it used to be Album and Pearl, get yourself a freighter and use that freighter to do trading and haul around until you could get a fighter. But you've seen what's happened. Do you think I have a shot in hell of getting a fat freighter from one system to another without getting attacked and blown out of the sky? I don't think so. It's like every time I go into the sky, I'm getting attacked. Well, it's that ship there is at least somewhat maneuverable, even though it's badly maneuverable. Now imagine it with a fat freighter full of cargo. It's not going to work. So I don't know what to do about this. This situation is bad. I guess I'm going to have to do the thing that I hate doing with the games, and that's just go research it, spend a bunch of hours on Google trying to figure out what's the fastest way that I can make a bunch of money and get an A-class fighter. Because pretty as she is, that ship just ain't going to cut it. Clearly. I mean, you can't... I can't see the ship. I can't see it, Jim. Where is he? It's like, go back and play X-Wing. Oh my God, it's so easy to know where things are. And the spatial awareness is so much easier and better. It's just, I'm frustrated. And that's not what I wanted Sundays to be about. That's what I was hoping this game was just going to be a relaxing hour that I could have every week of just relaxation and enjoyment, set my own goals, do my own thing. And now the game is putting a wall in front of me. And I have to figure out how to get beyond it. And why is it always nighttime on this planet? So, that's where we're at with No Man's Sky. Thank God it didn't destroy the Vesper sail again this time, but it did destroy that. So, thank God I bought wiring looms for that. That thing is still broken. And this is... I need sodium nitrate. Great. Everything on the ship gets destroyed way too easily. Way too easily. So I need 30... Okay. Oh, it starts out maxed out, so they decided that was the best way to. You know what? Here's the odd thing. It used to be it started out at 0, and then you had to press all the way to get the maximum amount, and then they start you maxed out, and if you only want 30, you go back. You know, the web has been doing this thing where there are buttons next to these with double arrows, or an arrow with a line, a vertical line, and that means go to the end or go to the front. It's 2023, people. You can put those buttons in video games and make them do that exact feature. One more, one less, all the way to the beginning, all the way to the end. It's just 2 more buttons and logic that simple web developers have been doing for decades. I don't know. Can I get paid to be a consultant for video games? Will they listen to me? I mean, even just small quality of life things. I think that the more we love something and the more passionate we are about it, the more frustrating the problems are. Like, there are a lot of things in my life that the quality of life on something is not good, and I feel indifferent or I don't care because I'm not passionate about it. But I'm passionate about video games, so when they do things wrong or badly, it chafes. It chafes like the sand of Anakin Skywalker against my ears. It chafes. Alright. Starship. Let's fix you, you piece of junk. Yeah, I gotta find a scheme. I gotta find a scheme for making money. Usually I just harvest album and pearl until I have enough to buy a fat freighter, because a really good fighter is going to cost like 30 million, I think. So I'll come up with something. Sorry for the rantiness at the end of Mellow Skyrim Sunday, or at least what should have been Mellow Skyrim Sunday. So I'll try to be more mellow next week. I'm going to try to come up with a plan between now and the next episode so that I can do what I want to do in this game. It's going to take us a while to get a fighter capable of surviving this. It is very cool to see the stars on the horizon moving as they are. Look at that. You can see them slowly moving. That's pretty neat. All right, folks. Leave your questions, comments below. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Like, all that jazz. You know the drills. Consider supporting my Patreon. It's in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.